today, Year 3, we're going to be painting a different type of seascape. And today we'll be thinking carefully about how we make the brush strokes on the page. We will also be using tints and shades to create our painting. Now this painting is me making a copy of a famous painting by an artist called Monet. We've already looked at a little bit of his work, and this is the painting we're going to use. Now Monet was very famous for the use of brushstrokes in his work. Until Monet's time, most artists had made sure the brushstrokes were really well blended into the paper, but Monet didn't. Monet left his brushstrokes so you could see each one of the brushstrokes individually. So he painted with quick flowing brushstrokes to the side like that, and that's what we're going to have a go at doing today. So we're going to have a go at copying this picture using those flicked brushstrokes and using tints and shades to make the colours. Okay, so let's get started. Now the first thing we need to do, Year 1, Year 2, Year 3 even, is we need to divide the sky and the sea. And if you look, the sky is just slightly bigger than the sea, so I'm going to do my line just below the middle of the page. And then you can see this black cliff, and I'm going to fold my piece of paper in half because the cliff takes up about half of the piece of paper. So I'm going to very lightly draw in my cliff. I need a gap at the top, and then my cliff has an uneven top. And then it comes down and then up again into a pointy bit. So my cliff looks a little bit like this, and then I need to do that gap in the rock just about there. Okay, so I've drawn my cliff shape, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to paint that cliff shape. Now you can see that the black isn't even. In some areas the black is more of a grey colour. So in these areas we need to add some white to create a tint. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the edge using the tip of my brush to create the outline of the rock. And then where I can see the lighter parts of the rock, I'm going to add some white. Now I don't need to clean my brush because in this painting it doesn't matter, we can blend the colours together. So I'm making the grey section with a little bit of white, and I'm keeping the brush, keeping the black on the brush, so it makes a grey colour. And then the rest of the rock is a darker black, so I'm going to load my brush up, and if you look, the brush strokes are short sweeping shapes like this. So I'm going to keep using those short sweeping brush strokes to make the rock, and you can see the colours blending, so the colours get lighter and darker depending on how much black or white is in the section. Okay, but keep using those short flicked brush strokes just like Monet has done in his painting. So I've made the cliff shape. Now I'm going to think about the sea. Now the sea is made up of tints. There is white all over the background of this sea, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wash my brush, stroke it on the side, check it's nice and dry, and check there's no colour on it. And then I'm going to fill each section of the painting with white. I'm going to work on this section first, and you can see I'm putting white all over. So I'm going to add colours on top to create the tints on top. Remember, I'm doing those fast brush strokes. I want to make this reddy yellow colour, so I'm going to mix a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, and I'm going to do fast brush strokes. Add a little bit more white, fast brush strokes to make that reddy colour in the corner of my picture. I can see some red in the sky here, so I'm going to add that. Okay, I can also see some black, so I'm going to add the black into my, with a little white. You don't want too much black. And spread out those brush strokes. Okay, let me carry on. So I'm going on to the next section, and I want to add white and blend those brush strokes together. Okay, the sky is getting grayer, so in the white I have a little bit of grey, and then you can see there's blue highlights. So I'm going to add those blue highlights into the sky. I don't want too much blue, just a little bit, and then you can see there are red sections as well. Too much red on my brush. Okay, so I'm going to carry on using the white and blending using my short flicked paint brush marks, my brush strokes, and I'm going to add that mixture of colours and then blend it into the white, so I can make a lovely blended sky like Van Gogh has done. So a tiny little bit of paint each time to blend those colours together. Remember, just tiny little touches of colour onto the brush to make that sky blended together. Look where the red is, look where the blue is, and add those tiny little bits on top of the white. Okay, let's move on to the sea. Now the sea has a nice dark blue line across the middle where the sea meets the horizon. So here we go, I'm going to put that nice dark line in for the sea, and just under the cliff as well. And then I'm going to go back, clean my brush, stroke it on the side, and use my white again, doing those flicked movements with my brush. To make the tints. So now I want to add more blue to make the sea using my flicked brush strokes. Now the sea also has a greeny colour, so what colours do I need to mix together? I need to mix some blue and some yellow together to make that greeny colour that I can add to the sea. Just a tiny bit in my brush, mix together those brush strokes. Quick, fast movements. Okay, then I'm going to move along. I'm going to add some more white into the sea, and you can see how I'm blending those colours together. In this section, I can see there's some yellow from the sun. The sun is reflecting in the water, so I'm going to do some yellow and some white together to make it look like the reflection of the sun. And I can see the sun coming through that hole in the rock, so I'm going to do that sun colour there. Okay, let me clean my brush, stroke it on the paper, and I'm going to start adding my white all over this side as well. Always start with a base layer of white, and then you can move on to the colours that you can see on top. So now I can see blue, and I can see greens as well. I'm going to add those into the water. I can see the yellow because the important thing to remember, year 1, year 3, is that the sea is not just one colour. The sky is just not one colour. It's a mixture of colours. And when we paint, we want to try and get the impression of that mixture of colours. So I want you to mix the colours, always putting on a layer of white to start off with, and then using short brush strokes to blend the colours together. Okay, some white in here with a little bit of red because the sun is poking through that section there. Okay, all right, I'm going to let you have a go. I want you to make sure you have this picture printed off so that you can have a go at looking at the brush strokes and painting them onto your paper. Good luck, year 3. I can't wait to see your work on Firefly.